Hello and welcome to On the Kerbs. I'm your host, Team Marvels Daily. Joining me this week is Claire Johnson. Claire is a fitness and nutrition expert that works with a range of motorsport drivers in order to get them performing at their very best. We caught up a little while back to chat about the process she goes through with each racing driver, which drivers she'd love to put to the test in the future, how important driver self-care is in relation to having a good car, and much more. It's a fascinating chat, and so without any further ado, I think we should just get straight into it. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hi Claire, thanks for being here today. First of all, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. So, first question, first thing that I always like to ask everyone on this podcast, what first got you interested in motorsport?
You know what, that is a very in-depth question. A lot of people often say to me, how did you get to where you are and what you do within motorsport? And it was a number of things that aligned, at the same time or quite closely together that brought me here. So I guess the key part of the journey started in the first lockdown, and I wrote my second book, which is called The Winning Formula. And that was more of a female empowerment book. But in that, I was interviewing women who were being really successful and at the top of their game in a traditional male sport or environment, if you like. So within that, I interviewed a couple of racing drivers. I had Rebecca Snell, who was a monster truck lady. She was the first Hot Wheels monster truck lady from the States. And she was actually the inspiration for bringing the stories, or the collection of stories of the women I'd interviewed together. And I also had Penny Mallory in there as well, and she was a rally driver back in the day. So it was using their stories and other stories of different women within different sporting environments to come together to inspire women to get out of their comfort zones and push themselves in different environments. And at that same time that I was publishing my book, as we were coming out of lockdown, I was starting to go to team sport a lot, and I was karting because it was one of the only things that you could do at the time. Mm-hmm. I got noticed because I was quite fast, and I was asked to compete in the British Indoor Karting Championships and also be a BIKC ambassador and a team sport ambassador to get more females on track. And we were going to come together and do a book launch at one of my local tracks. And then from there it escalated. I joined the Formula Woman team as their lead nutritionist and part of the health and fitness team, facilitating all of the fitness assessments for the ladies coming through. From there I started training a lot of the ladies one-to-one, and out of the 50 finalists that went through, I think 22 of them had some type of training with me. And then from there I was getting more involved with Girls on Track and the FIA Girls on Track initiative. And then I was just asked by a few different driving academies to be their fitness provider and trainer for their drivers that they were training, both in karting and also in normal cars. And then partnered with Idola Motorsport, who look after the Praga cars. So I trained the Praga corporate team, and also Idola Motorsport, I'm looking after their whole team. So, you'll see me out at track, and I'm helping the mechanics one-to-one, the pit team one-to-one, and also the drivers as well. So that can be really busy. Also work with Liqui Moly Performance, and they've got a number of drivers in their driver training academy, from BTCC, Mini Challenge, drifting, and just work with their drivers one-to-one to support their fitness and nutrition needs. So there's a lot of different things that I do. I work
it
with
very much escalated quickly there, didn't it?
Yeah, I work with a lady from the W Series. I presented at an F1 team as well. So yeah, there's lots of different things going on, all to do with motorsport. And obviously I have my race license as well, so I have a little bit of track time, spent some time behind the wheel. And also I'm competing again in the BIKC this year, and just trying to raise the awareness as an avenue to get more women onto track as well.
So before you kind of got involved in all of this, because again, like we were saying just before we started, there is a lot on your plate. But did you ever watch motorsport a lot before then? Did you kind of dip in and out of it, or was it just kind of in the periphery and now it's pretty much just taken over?
I always had an interest in motorsport. Growing up, two brothers always used to watch the F1, really interested in that. We used to do some karting together when I was younger. always had an interest in cars, but my own passion for racing and also motorsport, I guess, escalated quickly, more from when I was launching my book and getting it in from that side of things. I guess with my background, what excites me the most is how the body works. I've been within health and fitness for almost 20 years now, but now you're making me feel old. But I've done that at an international level, both here in the UK and Australia and New Zealand, and worked with a lot of people and helped them have physical changes. And the way that the body works and adapts through the sporting environment that it's in excites me. So my skills and expertise, it's adaptable from there. And so combining my expertise with my love of food and nutrition, and then bringing it into my other passion for motorsport, it's just all come together, and it's really succinct together really nicely.
So you touched on what I was about to ask you next, so it's a perfect segue, so I'm going to fully take that. Have you always been into fitness then, or how and when did this all come about?
Yeah, like I said, I've been fitness for 20 odd years. Started a personal trainer, gym instructor, group exercise class instructor. I still teach some classes here and there. I absolutely love them. They're just the movement to music and that connection with participants, it's really something else when you see someone just letting go and just smashing a workout to some great music. And then I've done health club management. I worked for the Treasury and the Cabinet Office for the UK government, managing their gyms, and did a lot of work over in Australia with one of their largest personal training franchise systems, many different roles over there as well. So that saw me traveling internationally with them as well. I've done pre and postnatal. Pre and postnatal specialist work, physical transformations. I used to compete as well as a female figure competitor, which is like bodybuilding for females, but not as muscular, and that's helped me to learn a lot more about that competitive environment. I was Miss Sydney twice, came second in Australia, so again, adapting my knowledge and expertise to that very sport specific role.
So I feel like there's so much I could dive into there. Like, we might need another podcast after this for separate things.
I know. I'm like, how much do you want to know? There's so much.
So we'll focus on how you work with the drivers for a second then. So talk us through the process of how, from your introduction with a driver or with someone that you're going to be training to whatever end goal you decide, what does that process look like generally? Because I imagine that gets tailored at a certain point as well.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a great question to ask. So I have a bespoke race fit program, which I've created a framework for different areas that need to be addressed for you to be successful as a racing driver, be it in a single seater, in a car or a cart. And so when I'm first approached by a driver or someone who's looking to improve their performance out on track and their recovery, it's looking at, what their current lifestyle looks like. So, what are they currently doing in terms of their fitness? What are they doing in terms of their eating habits? What is it they're actually doing it in racing? What does their season look like? When are they qualifying? What are their practice sessions? So really trying to get a bird's eye view of like what's going on for this driver, having a full assessment, assessing different fitness areas, having a look at grip strength, flexibility, core strength, and also then designing a program around what their lifestyle is like in terms of their training needs and their availability to be able to train. So have the consultation with them, find out what it is that their end goal is, not just for the current season, but their longevity, how they want to maintain that in the sport, and then create them a program, let them work on that. I train people one-to-one, or if they're not local, then they'll be training using my online fitness app, and then we'll have weekly check-ins as well, so weekly phone calls, adapting the program from there to make sure they're progressing, and then setting different fitness tests along the way as well, or reviews and assessments, looking at how they're developing their next strength. Are we training them in the right way? I work with drivers one-to-one when they're out on track as well, so I'll go down and make sure that their race nutrition's on hand, and literally walk up onto the track and like, have you eaten, when did you last drink? And literally it's like mothering another child sometimes, but that's what I'm there for. They're there to race, and I'm there to support them to get the best out of them. And then incorporating a mobility flexibility regime so that they can recover properly, and also making sure that they get that rest, that they can replenish and then grow and be stronger when they're back out on track as well. So that's all tailored and designed specifically for that driver. We check in each week, and then every 6 weeks we'll review, have a progress check, and then build the next 6 weeks, and then take it from there.
So very much, it sounds straightforward, but probably not simple.
I always say that something can be, if it's simple, then it doesn't mean that it's easy. Like I said, that there's a framework, and there's key areas that need to be addressed, and then it's monitoring those, progressing those, and making sure that we are progressing in the right way, and make sure that it's done safely, and that we don't need to do any physio or anything like that, so that when the driver's getting ready to get in the car, they're vitalized, they're replenished, and they're ready to go racing.
So as part of that then, is there a method for keeping people motivated to stay fit and eat well and all the rest of it, or again, do you find you have to tailor that a bit to the individuals that you're working with?
It depends on the individual. A lot of it's an education process, especially with the food side of things, and it's simple. Like, racing drivers understand the need to, maintain the cars and make sure that they're running with all the right fuel in it. So, it's using the analogies of putting the right fuel into their bodies as well, and looking after their bodies so they can function at the best. And most people, once they start a program and they start seeing their results and seeing how their fitness increases, that then their stamina behind the wheel increases, and that their focus is maintained for longer, that fatigue doesn't set in as quick, and they're able to make better racecraft decisions. They might, rather than pulling back too soon going into the corner, they might still be alert enough, if you like, so that they don't feel like they're too tired, so then they go into that corner quicker, and then they take the lead position. So once they start seeing the results and seeing how it's helping them out on track, it becomes a lot easier to motivate a driver to want to do it, because they're excited to see what else can change. And every driver's looking for that slight edge so they can get that leading position.
So positive reinforcement in a way there. It's like, just trust the process for a little bit, work with me, and then you'll see it does work.
Yeah, and exactly. It's like I say to everyone as well, that that you can have the best car in the world and you can have the best skill in the world, but if you're not actually fit enough to handle that car, then there's no point having it. So it is tiring. It's a lot of mental stress, and the fitter you are, then the better you're able to cope with those mental stresses and keep that alertness for longer behind the wheel.
And as we touched on a bit earlier, in the last couple of years in particular, we've seen a lot more women trying the hand at motorsport and rising up through the ranks through things such as W Series. Do you see that change reflected in your side of work as well, though?
In terms of the performance coach side of things, there's not many other female trainers that that I know of. Obviously, we've got the high profile Angela Cullen, who looks after Lewis Hamilton F1, and I'm seeing the range of roles that have women in them, that's increasing. From the fitness performance side of things, not as much. And I guess, that's a key point of difference with me. Not only am I a female doing this role within the sport, but also because I have the racing experience as well. I have that knowledge that's transferable. And, I understand what the drivers are going through. I've sat behind the wheel many a time, and, you feel your heart rate going up with the nerves and the adrenaline coming in. And then you start to feel the stress response, and, your palms feel sweaty. So it's like, okay, I noticed that in me, then how my driver's going to feel. So it just gives me that better understanding and ability to adapt each program to each driver as well.
So then they've got the t-shirt, and you're making it very hard for me to argue that you're not the full package there.
I'll try to.
So then, as part of that, what's been your biggest professional challenge so far?
Oh, that's a great question. Having most racing drivers, one thing that they will struggle with is trying to get the sponsorship, to get the money to go racing and do what they love to do. So, when funds become limited, it's, the priority is, do I put it all in the car? Do I put it into maintaining the tyres and the mechanics and track time? And again, it's that educational process. It's like I said before, the car can be great, but if you're not, then you're not going to be able to drive it to your full potential and get the results that you want anyway. So it's an educational process there, that investing in you as a driver is just as important as investing in your car. So trying to make sure that that's a balanced blend on both parts of it, because you do need both parts of it to work. And I guess the educational process as well is also that, you know, eating healthy isn't hard, and it's, you know, it's, you're not missing out as well. A lot of people think, oh, you know, I can't eat like that, it's going to be boring, it's, you know, I'm not going to have variety. You know, everyone that gets on my Eat for Results online now, you know, they see the variety of options that they have, and how easy that they can be to use as well. So it's overcoming those blocks, if you like.
Do you think as well, you're saying about if the person isn't up to standard on terms of fitness and nutrition and everything, then it doesn't matter how good or bad the car is, it's not going to transfer over. Do you think then that when you see in certain things, like I'm thinking F1, for example, where the car maybe isn't the best one, but you've got a driver who maybe is getting the maximum out of it, how much do you think that is down to the fitness and the nutrition side of things?
Do you know what was really interesting? When was it? It was the last season of the Netflix program that they do. Oh, what's it called for
Drive
me?
to Survive.
That's the one. Opening sequence, Lewis Hamilton came on, and he's, you know, they're going into the next season. First thing he says, okay, do I still have it? Am I fit enough? Those were his two questions. He wasn't concerned about the car. He was concerned about his ability, because he has trust in his team that, you know, they're going to deliver and do what they can with the cars. And, you know, F1, the teams, it's a collaborative relationship for all of them. You know, the drivers obviously concentrate on themselves, but, you know, it was interesting for him to have that. You know, does he still have it? Is he still fit enough? So I don't think that answered your question. Did I? Went off on a tangent. I told you that would happen.
It's a part way of answering it, so I'll take it. It wasn't on my list. I was just kind of wondering there as you were saying about it. So,
just repeat the question again for me.
Well, I was just thinking, you take McLaren a few years ago. Their car wasn't the best on the grid bench stage, but Alonso was still, and Button were able to get like quite a bit out of that. And you could put part of that down to experience, but then you take maybe George Russell and Williams a couple of years ago and still get the maximum out of that. How much do you think that the fitness and nutrition side of getting like the driver themselves absolutely nailed as good as they can be helps them to extract that maximum out of not a great car?
If you have a look at, they're the elite of the elite, you know, so they're up there, they've got that fitness level, so they're able to then push themselves and deal with those demands. So yeah, absolutely, I definitely agree with that.
So I might know a thing or two after all, so I'm not all lost. For the people watching this who aren't racing drivers or who may be thinking about it but don't know where to start from a fitness or nutrition standpoint, what advice would you give to them?
Contact me and I can help them.
Easy stuff. So.
Everyone's different. Everyone's got different lifestyle requirements. You know, everyone has different preferences, and everyone wants to race in something different. So, you know, you can't have a one-stop generic program. That's why it does need to be bespoke. Generally, it's about getting the basics right first and having the right foundations set. You know, a lot of people, you know, general public, they struggle with that. And it's probably caused for a lot of confusion, as, you know, how to eat, what to eat, what's best for them. So it's trying to get those basic foundations set properly, so, you know, you're getting the right calories into you, but you're getting not in terms of amount but in terms of nutrient profile as well, and then having the split between the right macronutrients of carbs, proteins and fats to suit, like, you know, your fitness goals, your lifestyle goals, your body type, all of that. So again, it's simple. So I don't want to overcomplicate it. It's simple when it's broken down to follow, and that's what I do. You know, I take the confusion out of it and just give people a plan to follow. You know, and literally, like with my online app, they've got it in the palm of their hand, so it's there's no question, and they have access to me. So it's just, you know, finding the right support or getting the foundations right, and then just moving more. Everyone could move more, you know. So you know, the government's guidelines, you know, they have basic like exercise requirements to do each week, and it's, you know, finding out what those are, and are you meeting those just as a general base level of what we should be doing.
So then, kind of not to do with that at all, but moving on slightly, have you got a fun motorsport related story that you can share?
Oh gosh, do you know what? I think everything to do with what I've done at motorsport is fun. You know, whenever you, yeah, I know, I'm just trying to think, is there a standout moment? But no, like, it just literally lights me up. It makes me smile, I should say. like when I'm at track, say for instance this weekend I'm at Donington, we've got the next round of the Praga Cup, so working with the Praga team there and Idola, so working with the teams and seeing what they're doing, seeing their progression, being able to support that and be a part of that, that's an incredible feeling, and it's rewarding. Say for instance one of the W Series drivers that I've been working with, when she's been away at different races, I'm messaging her all the time, checking on hydration, and that's makes me smile because I see how well she's now doing out on track, and the different drivers that I've been working with one-to-one, seeing their fitness progression, and then seeing how that's translated onto their results as well. That makes me smile. And then when I'm doing like with the British Indoor Karting Championships and going down and being out on the track, it's fun. So yeah,
did you put on the helmet and think, I've got a bit of an advantage of you because I'm in charge of my fitness and I'm pretty good at this, so combined with the speed I should be able to whoop all of your asses? Or
no, sometimes I think the last time I went down to my local track, it was like Harlow and it was warm, and I got out and I was like, wow, I am hot. And I remember driving around and starting to feel like I was overheating. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I guess it's I have that advantage, I have that fitness, and I also have the awareness as well, but by no means do I think that makes me mean I'm going to beat anyone. Still go, what happens out on track on the day is what happens on the day.
True. You've also met a lot of famous people through your work. Which one was the most surreal, and who's still on your bucket list?
Do you know what? It's I work quite closely with Ben Collins, who used to be the SIG through Idola and Praga, and I've grown up watching him and seeing him on Top Gear and things like that. So you can be a bit awestruck, I guess. But I was treating him with my massage gun, trying to help him with some therapy post-race and also pre-race pep, and it was just a genuine nice down-to-earth guy. We were talking about his kids and my kid, and just good general chat, and he's so knowledgeable. It was really good to see him and spend time with him as I do at the races.
And then is there anyone else that you'd hope to meet through your work somehow? Or you think, would be fun?
The F1 drivers, they're also you just looking up to them, you're inspired, just their skill set. I'm very friendly, obviously, with Max Verstappen's physio, and what he tells me about his cognitive function and his ability to do what he does. It's as someone who's interested in human biology and the biomechanics of how people move, I just find it fascinating. So to be able to sit down and have dinner with any one of those, probably Lando or Lewis would be up there for me.
I was going to say, you may be have answered my next question there, but I'll see if it's the same answer. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Which racing drivers would you love to put through their paces?
It would be Lando, because he just looks like a giggle. It'd just be fun. So yeah, Lewis would be interesting as well. Any of the F1 drivers, Alonso.
It'd be interesting to see with Lewis, because he seems very nice and outgoing, but you do wonder at what point, when you do put him through his paces, does it then change into, okay, I'm getting competitive now?
You can see they're all very competitive, and they'd all be wanting to be pushed. And as a fitness trainer, it always excites me when someone, they're willing to push themselves to see what they're physically capable of. That's exciting.
That extra level of satisfaction then as well.
Yeah.
So a couple of non-related fun questions just to finish off then.
Okay.
Are there any non-active hobbies that you do and like to do to relax?
Gosh, should I like traveling. I love to go and see new places, so anything to do with where I'm learning about different countries, different cultures. I like to do that. I like quite watching some of the property programs. I just like learning and studying as well, and just spending time with my little guy and those closest to me.
And then final question, what's the last film you watched? It's always these questions to get the people rather than the actual series.
Do you know what? I love watching films. I'm trying to think of the last thing I went to see at the cinema. And I want to see the next Thor one that's coming out. And I think there's the one with Brad Pitt that's just come out. Bullet Train.
Yeah.
I want to see that. But what was it? It was Top Gun, the latest Top Gun one. That was the last one I saw at the cinema. But I don't think I've seen a film on TV since then.
To be fair, Top Gun Maverick, not a bad one to be the last one you've seen for a while. So
yeah, I know. But that's worrying because it means I'm due to go to the cinema if I haven't been for a while.
Well, it's a good excuse, and you've remembered now. You can do that ASAP now.
Yeah. I'll go and check out what's on the local Everyman.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. I want to thank you for being here today and wish you the best of luck with everything that you do for the rest of the year and beyond that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great to be able to share what I do through your platform. So I really appreciate it and love everything that you do. And we're showcasing everyone's stories as well. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks again to Claire for coming onto the Kerbs with me, and I'm looking forward to seeing where she turns up next and which drivers she'll work with in the future. Join me again soon when I will chat to another famous face from the world of motorsport. And in the meantime, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and check out the other interviews on the Kerbs YouTube channel. If you want to hear more from me, you can listen to me chat about F1 and other things over on the Undercut podcast, and you can also hear me dissecting everything Nitro RX related, including chatting special guests, over on the Nitro RX podcast. Both podcasts are available here on YouTube, as well as over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you like to listen. You can also follow me over on Instagram at t.albers.daily.onthekerbs and read my various motorsport articles over on Is It Fast and Paddock's Sorority. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next week for the next episode.